As this video is going to be my flashback to the first and only time I have ever gone snowboarding. The story begins with my sister deciding that she wants to go snowboarding for her birthday. So my dad took my sister and I to go snowboarding. Now we went someplace where you can rent all of your gear and everything's prepared for you. So we went, we got our gear on, got our snowboards, and we found a place where we could just practice before our lesson for the day. Now, I should have realized that this practice time should have been a warning for me, because it went terribly. Neither one of us could stand up well, neither one of us could stop the snowboard, neither one of us could direct the snowboard, but we figured after a lesson we'd be pretty good at it. Now, after a while, the instructor came out and he instructed us on how to snowboard. He taught us how to stand, taught us how to steer, all of that good stuff, and we understood none of it. Now, there was a father and son taking the lesson with us. And while my sister and I were struggling and falling over and making fools of ourselves, they were there doing a perfectly fine job snowboarding like they've been doing it for years. It was absolutely embarrassing. By the time our lesson was finished, we were feeling a little bit better, a little bit more confident. So we thought it was time to get on the ski lift and go up to the top of the smallest bunny hill. Now, we were feeling pretty good about ourselves until we got to the top of the ski lift. Now, the top of the ski lift, there's an ice ramp you have to slide down to get to the surface of the mountain. And, well, we thought it'd be fine. We just hop off, slide down, and stop once we get to the bottom of the ramp. But it didn't go like that. My sister hops off, slides down it, falls. I'm following her, sliding, I fall on top of her. After that little mess, we thought, okay, it was our first time on our own. It's okay. We got this. We move over to the top of the bunny hill, and we start our descent. And that is where the next set of problems goes. After about 3 seconds of standing, both of us fall. And we continue to slide a few feet, fall, slide a few feet, fall, slide a few feet, fall. All the way down the bunny hill, which I will say is one of the most embarrassing experiences of my entire life. Once we both got to the bottom, we thought, okay, that was our first run, let's head back up. So we loop around, back up the ski lift, back down the ramp. My sister goes, she stands, she's okay. She makes it down the ramp without falling. I thought, okay, see, we're getting better. I hop off the ski lift, immediately fall on the ramp. Falling on the ramp, I decided wiser to not stand up and just scoot on my butt over to the top of the hill, which again was very, very embarrassing. Now, as I was scooting over to the top of the hill, the father and son who had taken the lesson with us were coming down one of the bigger mountains, which fed into the bunny hill. And now they were coming from way up the mountain, doing just fine. They got past us, went all the way down the bunny hill, and basically I hid so they wouldn't see me because I was so darn embarrassed about how poorly I was doing. To make things worse, during one of our attempts going down the bunny hill, our instructor walks along the top of the hill. Now, I'm pretty sure he could see us and could see how terribly we were doing. But I feel like just for our sake, he didn't say anything, didn't comment, didn't try to help. I basically just hid my face, and I'm pretty sure my sister did the same thing. During one of my attempts to going down the bunny hill, one of the times I was doing a little bit better, I was going back and forth down the hill pretty well, and I was pretty confident. At one point, I gained a little bit too much speed for me to be comfortable with, and as I tried to turn, going at that speed, I don't even know what happened. My feet went up, my head went down, and I slammed into the ground on my wrist while doing basically a backflip. Now, when I sat up, all I could think was, ouch, my wrist is absolutely killing me. And my first thought was, oh my god, my wrist is broken. And then my guilty conscience got to me. I thought, oh no, I'm gonna ruin my sister's birthday because I just snapped my wrist. Now, my selfish self thought, now wait a minute. Yes, this would ruin her birthday, but this might get me out of snowboarding. So I took my snowboard off my feet, grabbed it in my hand, and started walking down the bunny hill with my limp wrist beside me. Now, the whole way down the hill, I was praying to God that my wrist was broken and that I could be done for the day. Now, you gotta bear with me and understand how much you must hate a recreational activity to be praying that your wrist is broken. I don't care if you're a Christian, atheist, a Muslim, I don't care. If you're praying to God that you snapped a bone in your body so you could stop a recreational activity, you must really suck at it. By the time I got to the bottom of the hill, my sister met up with me and we walked back to the lodge my dad had been sitting all day. We got back inside the lodge and I told my dad, I think I broke my wrist. So he found someone who worked there who could help us out. They had a little medical station, and the guy brought us there. There was a guy there who examined me, checked it out, and he said, "Yup, you snapped your wrist, it is broken." So at that point, my dad decided it was time to go. We packed up in the car, returned our rental gear, and we headed for home. Now, our home was probably a good 3 hours away, so it was a pretty long drive, especially for having a broken wrist. On the way home, we stopped at a medical center. Now, it was pretty late in the evening, so we didn't stop at the hospital or anything. We went to the small medical center, probably 10 minutes from our home. We get inside the lobby, and oh my gosh, there must have been 30 people in this tiny lobby, all waiting, all coughing, all moaning, all very unpleasant, and I knew I was going to be sitting there for a very long time in a decent amount of pain. Now, even though the pain absolutely sucked, it was better than going down that stupid freezing cold bunny hill on a snowboard. Now, eventually it was my turn, and I went back and I got checked out, and they said, yeah, your wrist is definitely broken. Now, I sort of freaked out in the lobby before that happened because my dad was telling me that at some point in the back, they would ask him to leave the room and ask me if my dad did it, if that he was abusing me, and he was the one who broke my wrist. Now, my dad telling me that absolutely terrified me because I was so freaked out that I thought, they're going to ask me that. I'm going to say, no, I broke it snowboarding, and just out of the pure tone in my nervous voice, they're not going to believe me and think my dad snapped my wrist. So I was absolutely terrified, and while I was in the back, they never even asked me about that. It just added to my misery, but that's besides the point. Now, I was still kind of upset that I broke my wrist, but once again, glad I was not snowboarding. Now, the worst part was that I felt terrible for my sister. This was her birthday present for us to go snowboarding, and I ruined it because I fell on a bunny hill and snapped my wrist. After they got a splint on me and I was checking out and everything, they tell me what to do and where to go to get an actual cast, I realized that I had a championship soccer game that coming weekend. And so I asked the nurse, can I play in this game with my wrist like this? And she gave me a no. Now, I thought I could still play anyway, but my dad said no. I went to the final game. You know, it was teams from all over northern Delaware. The final game, and guess what? We lost. I sat in the box and watched with my stupid orange cast and watched my team lose. So that really sucked. Now, to me, despite that loss, the worst part was I ruined my sister's birthday. I still felt absolutely terrible. And it wasn't probably until a year ago, maybe 2, that this story came up. I was talking to my sister. You know, we were laughing about it, about how terrible we were at snowboarding. And she mentioned how badly she was hoping I snapped my wrist. Now I thought, wait a minute, what? That is so mean. And then I realized, okay, I was praying that I snapped my own wrist. So I realized and found out that my sister hated snowboarding about just as much as I did. And she was just as happy as I was that I broke my wrist. She just hit it very well. So that cleared my conscience, and it made me feel a lot better that I didn't completely ruin her birthday. And actually, you know what? I made it better, so I think I get some sort of props for snapping my wrist while snowboarding. What I've learned from this experience is basically just don't go snowboarding. I've learned that if you have mediocrely crappy balance, it's a really bad idea to go snowboarding. And that's about all I've learned from this story. And I've also learned that, yeah, sometimes breaking a bone can be for the best. If you like this video and want to see more like it, just go ahead and subscribe, check out my channel, leave me a comment, leave me a thumbs up, or even a thumbs down if you feel like it. Just give me some sort of feedback. Tell me what you want to see from my video. Thanks for watching, guys. I love you. And don't forget, never go snowboarding.